Hello, Dazzle. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me today. I'm glad that you're here. Today, I just want to talk to you guys about a painting that I did on stream. And while I am talking, you're going to be able to watch a time lapse of me coloring that painting. The black line work took me 4 hours to complete, and then the coloring took another 4 hours. And part of why this painting took that long is because of the interactive nature of both a stream and this painting itself. And while I was painting the creatures in the painting, chat was able to tell me what they wanted to be added into the painting. I chose to do this painting as a stream because of the story behind it, and I wanted to bring this art project back to life. This all started with an unexpected art project that I ended up making. It was a coloring book titled The Magical Forest. This is the first time that I painted the magical forest rather than drawing it with pen and paper. I painted it on a canvas board. All of the black line work was done with acrylic ink, and the color was being done with watercolors. I used both traditional watercolor and watercolored pens for this painting. So there were some unexpected challenges and hiccups while working on this project. When I was doing the inking, I discovered rather quickly that I had to be careful how much ink I loaded into the brush. Whenever I got too much, the lines ended up really thick. And while that wasn't the end of the world, it wasn't the ideal look either. The other thing that came up was that the colors came out differently than expected. Watercolors are more muted and aren't as bright as ink or acrylic, and because of that, the finished product didn't end up as bright as I would have liked. But overall, I think that it was pretty great for the first time painting this rather than drawing it. Every time I have created a piece of artwork of the magical forest, it has been a collaborative process where others are encouraged to tell me what to draw in the picture. And this made the magical forest a perfect choice for doing artwork on stream. But it was also about wanting to revisit a project in a world that will always be very near and dear to me. Back when I was working as a psych nurse, I was taking care of both adults and children. The place that I was working at would admit children as young as 5. Oftentimes, these kiddos would need help finding ways to calm their emotions and regulate their feelings. I personally used art because it was something that I was familiar with, and I could share that sense of wonder and excitement with them. Honestly, it felt more like playing than coping. But the truth is that if we are using coping skills well, there really isn't any difference between coping and playing. When we are using a coping skill, it is often more helpful if it's one that sparks our joy, and that is all that playing is, the doing of a thing for the enjoyment of it. When I first started, I would try to get the kids to draw things, and they would most of the time, but they never got excited about it. Then they always ended up asking me to draw things. Over time, that just became the thing that I did. I would sit down with a kid and I would tell them that there was this other place far away from this one. And within that place, there was a magical forest. And the things that we dream and imagine here can sometimes come to life and live within this forest. And then I'd ask them to imagine what kinds of things would be living in that forest. And I would do my best to draw the things that they come up with. Most of the time, they were pretty mundane things like animals and plants, but every now and again, they would want a dragon or a unicorn or a mouse with wings or something that they would just describe to me part by part. Sometimes they wouldn't want to talk at all and would just want me to fill in the picture all by myself. In those cases, I would do my best to fill it in with a random variety of creatures and plants that made the magical forest look like it would be a fun and interesting place to explore. Once I had drawn enough things to completely fill up the page, I would ask the child to color the picture for me. It was always really fun to see how they chose to color it. They always chose really bright and unexpected colors for everything. The grass might be purple and the frogs could be red. Anything was possible because it was a magical forest. And now, whenever I color a magical forest picture, I also like to use bright colors and sometimes color things in unexpected ways. It just feels like the way that the magical forest should look. And after I'd been doing this for a while, I ended up having a style that developed. Now, whenever I sit to draw something for the magical forest, that style just kind of comes out naturally. I'm not sure what to call that art style. And it seems like some kind of cartoon style, maybe. There's also some influence of the Zentangle style, but it also has a bit of the hidden object feel to it as well. And I'm sure that there's a name for it, but I have no idea what it is. If you know what to call this style, let me know in the comments because I'd really like to know. There are some characters that are always present in the pictures, like the little people that are the forest spirits and the snakes. There are also always the little flying bugs and the ladybugs. And while drawing these pictures, I would tell the children stories about the magical forest and would encourage them to make up their own stories about the place. Over time, some characters found a permanent home in the magical forest as part of this shared storytelling. The forest spirits are the caretakers of the magical forest, and it's their job to make sure that all of the new dreams coming into the forest find themselves a home. The snakes are the nightmare eaters. It's their job to eat all the dark and scary creatures that arrive in the magical forest, and they make sure that the forest remains a bright and beautiful, joyful place. And all of the little flying bugs are the forgotten dreams that we wish we could remember, but they've faded away too quickly to really recall more than like wisps and like impressions. And the ladybugs are ladybugs. One boy informed me that every forest would have bugs and that ladybugs are the best of them. So there would be ladybugs in the magical forest. It's because of this shared storytelling that I will never feel that the magical forest is really completely mine. This place came into being through the weaving of many stories with many children over the course of about 5 years. There were even other staff members who drew pictures and told stories of the magical forest, and because of that, I will always feel that it is a place meant to be shared with other people. It wasn't too long into this that it all became a habit to photocopy these pictures so that more than one child could color the same picture. By the time that I left there, I had drawn over 100 pictures for these children. They had them all collected into a folder that was labeled the Magical Forest Coloring Book. And each one of these pictures represented a time that a child had been struggling and I was able to help them get through. For me, the magical forest will always be a bittersweet place because I will always wish that it had never been needed in the first place. It was a project that I never planned on creating, but it ended up being the most fulfilling art project that I have ever worked on. For every creative person out there that wonders if what you're doing is important enough to keep going, I want you to know that it is. When we humans are in our darkest hours and are struggling with our most difficult demons, we always turn to the creative works for comfort. We listen to music, watch shows, play video games, look at art, dance, and tell each other stories as ways to help us process and cope with everything that is difficult in our lives. If you're a creative person and you're thinking about giving up on it, I want you to draw a magical forest for someone. It doesn't have to literally be a drawing or a magical forest, but the next time you're supporting a friend who's struggling, offer to make them something. It is in those difficult times that we can truly understand the power and gift of our creativity. When we are creative, we really do have the power of lifting people up. This version of the Magical Forest is available in my Discord server in the Artist Alley channel. It is a copy of the uncolored line art. It is free to download, and I would love to see how you choose to color it. Please post your colored version of the Magical Forest in the Artist Alley channel so that we can all enjoy your take on it. And you can find a link to the Discord server in the description of the video. I am planning to do more with the Magical Forest in the future. Once I get a better camera set up, I would like to make the art stream a regular feature on Twitch. And I've also been thinking about making a children's book that tells the story of the Magical Forest, and it would be a ton of fun to do another coloring book. So what kinds of things do you guys think that I should do with the Magical Forest in the future? Do you want to see more of these kinds of videos? Let me know in the comments. Well, that's about it for my rambling today. Thanks for coming and spending some time with me. If you like my rambling, then click on that like button because it really does help. And until we talk again, you guys be sure to take care of yourselves. Bye!